I would like to invite everybody or welcome everybody to our cooking or weekly cooking classes. Today, Elizabeth and I guess Rachel will be teaching us how to make the pavlova, which I can barely pronounce, that Elizabeth used to win the Great Temple Sinai Bake Off. I'm very excited to learn how to make this. And then next week we have Saul and Kelly who are going to wrap us up because we're going to reschedule Drew and Jan's session to later in the year. So that all being said, it's all yours, Elizabeth and Rachel.
Yay! So I apologize that my head is going to be cut off on some of this. We wanted to make sure that you will have be able to see what we're doing. So we are making pavlova, which is basically a really big meringue. It is one thing that I like about it is that it's super easy to make, and it's also kosher for Passover. So I had sent the ingredient list tomorrow. Can you open the bird's door? So the ingredient list has potato starch on it. You don't need to use potato starch. You can use cornstarch, but potato starch is kosher for Passover. And I bought it once, and I don't think I'm ever going to use it all up. So I'm using the potato starch because we have it. What I made with the Bake Off, I had made a cake that was kosher for Passover with like ganache on it, and then I had made a pavlova to put on top. The pavlova is, sorry, the bird's flapping around now. It looks really impressive, but it's really easy. It's basically meringue, but it's a little bit different because when you make meringue cookies, they're usually light and sort of the same texture all the way through. A pavlova is different because I don't think you use vinegar in meringue, and you do use vinegar in a pavlova. And the pavlova tends to have like a chewier layer in the bottom, and then there's an air pocket, and then there's sort of the meringue above it. So it's a little bit different in its texture. So the first thing that we need to do is get our egg whites. And what is very, very important, I'm going to give you this job, is you want to make sure that they're
separated, right?
Well, you need to have the egg whites separated, but you also need to make sure that there's no oil or fat that it comes in contact with, or else your egg whites will not fluff up. So what you can do.
Well, why does that happen? Is that a chemical reaction?
Probably is.
Yay! I'm very good at science.
So it is helpful to wipe off the inside of the bowl you're going to use and wipe off the beaters with some vinegar, because that will clear up any of the oil. Okay. So why don't you do that? There's vinegar on that. That's your job. And then Mom. You do not want to separate the eggs and put them straight in the bowl all the time, because let's say you're on egg number 4 and all of a sudden you break your yolk, but you've dropped the yolk in the bowl full of all those eggs. Now you have to throw them all out and start over again. So you want to break them one at a time, or you want to separate them one at a time. Here. So, and I always, when I'm doing this, I don't throw the shell away right away.
Yeah, because you have to keep count.
Yes, because you have to keep track. And so if I throw it directly in the garbage, I will never remember how many I'm on.
Then you'll be have 100 eggs. Or yes. 12, because there's a dozen.
12 or 100. All right, so to separate them, I just do the
back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
And you want to hold on to the yolks because we'll need that in the second recipe. So we've got one. Also, if I end up breaking a yolk in the glass, I have multiple glasses here, so I put this glass in the sink and I get a new glass, because just dumping it out isn't going to fix the problem.
1 egg.
Oh, and while we're doing this, we need to preheat the oven to 300 degrees. Can you do that?
Yeah, so bake.
Yeah, hit bake.
350 degrees,
so
there we go.
Not 350, it needs to go to 300, so what do you need to do? Is that going to 300?
Yeah.
Yeah, wrong way.
What temperature, Elizabeth?
300.
There we go, 300.
So if you are making a pavlova, you want to pay attention to what other things you have to do in your kitchen and what other things you are making, because it has a really, really, really long bake time. And then you have to turn off the oven and let the oven come back down to like room temperature.
Mhm.
So what I did, what I usually do is I bake it and then I turn off the oven. And then if I'm making this like the night before, I'll just leave it in the oven all night. It cools down, it's fine. You know, it's not a problem to do that. But you don't want to, you know, say, I'm going to make this pavlova and then I'm going to make the brisket right afterwards, because that's going to ruin everything.
Mhm.
So you just need
If
to
you
pay.
won't have enough time to make the brisket.
Yeah, it'll throw everything off with your plan. So you have to pay attention to that. But you can like make a pavlova the day before. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't have to be the same day or anything like that.
Yeah.
And Rachel,
Yes.
oh, you don't have a, so I was going to have Rachel research and tell you about the story of the name. I know pavlova is named after a ballerina.
Ballerina, where is my iPad?
I don't know where your iPad is. So this is number 5. This is Minor Miracle that I haven't broken any yolks yet.
I found it.
Okay, you
Alright,
can,
I got my iPad. What do you want me to research?
who is, oops, that was been bad. I wasn't paying attention. So yolk goes here.
Yeah. All
White
right.
goes here.
I got my iPad right here.
Can you research where the name of pavlova comes from?
Sure, Safari. 5% remaining.
Uh-oh.
Uh-uh. Can I use
Okay.
your phone?
Yeah, you can use my phone. Here's 6 yolks. Amazing. I did not ruin it.
4.
No, you're supposed to do 6, honey.
Oh, okay. Okay. Research what?
Pavlova.
Where's Safari?
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, so I'm gonna put the eggs aside. And so I always, so I have the egg shells in here just so that I can keep count. I'll throw them out later. Every once in a while, when I've done this, I have forgotten to do that. And then surprise, there's a bunch of broken eggshells when I go to
Pavlova.
open the eggs again. I see something in the chat. Let me see if I can open this up.
All right. Want me to read
300
this?
degrees up. Yeah, that's Tammy is helping us with making the notes for everyone.
Would you like me to read the article that I found?
Well, can you give it,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So, pavlova is a meringue-based dessert named after a Russian ballerina, Anna Pavlova. It is a crisp crust and soft light inside, usually topped with fruit and whipped cream. The name is pronounced or like the name of the dancer, which was Wikipedia. The what? It just says which was Wikipedia.
Which was, oh, it's got the, you don't know how to read that.
What?
That's the phonetic alphabet. So Anna Pavlova is in it. So you get your egg whites in the bowl, and then in a small bowl, you are going to combine 3 teaspoons of vinegar.
3 teaspoons.
Grace, can you hold the teaspoon out?
Teaspoon. All right. Only super still.
No, it needs to be right up here
Why?
because it's going to splatter everywhere. So I'll do this.
3
1,
teaspoons of vinegar in the check. 2.
2, 3 teaspoons of vinegar.
Lunchtime slush.
Then you need vanilla extract.
Vanilla.
So vanilla extract, I do the vanilla extract the Ina Garten way, which was at one point I bought a bottle of vanilla extract and used it. And then I just bought a bunch of vanilla bean pods and threw them in there and filled it up with vodka and let it sit in my cabinet for a long time. And now it's vanilla extract. And as it starts to go down, I add more vodka and you just keep doing it. And it'll go indefinitely. which ends up being a lot less expensive than continuing to buy vanilla extract.
So it's
So-
easier.
2 teaspoons of this.
Wait, why do you add vodka?
Because extract is basically,
Vodka.
it's an alcohol, usually vodka with
It's always fun.
the bean or whatever it is that you're making the extract of in it. So 2 teaspoons vanilla extract,
Mhm.
and then
Vanilla
1
extract?
teaspoon. This is a half teaspoon, so we'll do 2 of it.
Can I scoop?
You can do, yeah. So that's a half, so you need
I'm gonna
2
be the scooper.
of, this is potato starch, but you can use cornstarch.
Yeah, potato starch or cornstarch.
Yes, go ahead.
1. How many?
2.
1. So 1, just 1 whole.
1 teaspoon, yes.
2.
And then I realized that the recipe that I had emailed to Mara failed to explain when you use the salt in there, which is you mix it in at this stage. So you do a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. You want to put that in this mix. So
No baking soda and vinegar. No, none of that.
mix that up.
Mix it up. It's sticky.
So that is mixed up, and then we are
What's it
going
for?
to take,
Wait, what is it for?
you just mix it. That's it. That's fine.
This?
Set that aside. Set it to the side.
Meat?
So yeah, as you can see here, we've got stuff mixed together.
I'll mix.
Eh.
I'll angle the camera.
You want to angle the camera and show it off? There. So this just sits to the side. Bring
Yeah.
the camera back up.
Doop, doop,
Please
doop.
don't make them motion sick. And you
Let
put
me do it. Let me do it. Let me scoop.
in, okay. 1.5 cups. So if that's half cup, how many are you doing? No. You fill it up to the top.
I'm trying, Mom.
Okay. 1.
Like this?
How many of them do you do? You need 1.5 cups.
How many?
It's a half cup.
So 3.
Yeah, go ahead.
1. Two. And 3.
All right, and it calls for whatever reason, 1.5 cups and plus 1 tablespoon. I don't know why I didn't write the recipe.
More?
Probably, yeah, 1/2 or 1 tablespoon. You could probably skip 1 tablespoon and it'll be fine. But I don't know, it just has it in there. So
Should I mix it?
we're gonna turn. So now you put it in the mixer.
Let me do the mixer.
Putting the bowl,
I got this.
block. Oh, wait,
You have the sugar and the egg whites together?
yes, and I just got the mixer jammed up because the whisk is not on there correctly.
Sorry.
So just a second, we gotta deal with
Hi.
this. For some reason the. There we go.
That was crazy.
Yeah, that's called, mommy's gonna get her hand stuck in the mixer. Let's not do that.
Let me do it. So
Okay,
I
turn it on.
to stir.
No, you wanna turn it on medium.
How do you get it? 4?
Yes.
That's fast.
So you want to first beat the egg whites to soft peaks, which takes a couple minutes. Okay. So this actually takes a couple minutes.
Yeah. We'll be back after these short messages.
What do you see? Okay. Any questions in the chat or anything? Right now it's just a waiting game with waiting for it to start getting soft feet. Rachel is decided it's time to listen to music. So what we will do while we're waiting for this is for the lemon curd, we will start zesting lemons and juicing lemons. we can, I usually use lemon peel instead of zesting lemons, and I use lemon juice, but I actually happened to buy lemons this week, which is not something I usually do, so we have them, so I might as well use them. Rach?
Okay.
Turn that off. You're gonna zest the lemon. You're gonna learn, okay? Okay, we'll move this over.
The blade.
No. This here, okay. Take this. You go like this, okay?
Shredding.
Yes, you're shredding the peel.
I didn't use the paper.
There you go. Make sure to keep your fingers away from the grater. Good job. And you're going to need about a tablespoon of the lemon peel.
He said, how does it help?
Okay.
He said, how does it help?
So I buy my lemon peel at Penzeys. And I think the okay. I think it's 1 teaspoon. You rehydrate 3 parts water to 1 part peel. So in the recipe, it calls for 1 tablespoon of lemon zest. So if you use the dried peel, all you have to use is 1 tablespoon, or I'm sorry, 1 teaspoon of the peel and I think 3 teaspoons of water, and it will come out to being a total of 1 tablespoon. Okay, would you like me to do this if you're making these? I don't see anything, so hopefully there's no.
That's like tiny.
Important to not get cut on this so we don't end up with your skin in our desserts.
Elizabeth,
Yeah,
did you say 1 teaspoon of the zest plus 3 teaspoons of water?
because and the zest soaks it up, so it ends up being
Okay.
a 1 tablespoon. It's not, even though I know usually it's 3 teaspoons in 1 tablespoon. The combination of water and the zest together, it soaks it up, so it ends up being in volume only 1 tablespoon.
Okay, thank you.
Apparently Rachel has decided it's time to listen to her MP3 player rather than cook. So that's where we are. So this does not look like, it estimated 1 lemon would be 1 tablespoon of zest, but I think these are just small lemons, so I'm gonna do at least 2 here. Okay. Yeah, so we got about a tablespoon of lemon peel here. And then you also need a 1/3 cup of lemon juice, which they estimate as being about 3 lemons. Actually, I'm going to put more lemon zest in here. This is the kind of thing that you do not need to be, like, it's not going to ruin the recipe if you have more zest than you need. Because the idea of juicing 3 lemons but only zesting 2, I can't live with that idea. Makes no sense. All right, so let me go back to the meringue. it is at the soft peaks stage, which means, well, actually it needs to go a little bit longer. Soft peaks means that when you take the beater out, as it's dripping down, you can sort of see a peak shape to it, but it doesn't actually hold the shape. The only thing about making these two things together that is a little frustrating is that you don't use the same number of egg whites and egg yolks. You only need 4 egg yolks for the curd, but you need 6 egg whites for the pavlova. I guess in theory I could multiply it all out and I can make, what do you think? 2 pavlovas and 3 batches of lemon curd, but that would be way too much. You can also save the egg yolks for putting on your challah. Like if you make challah frequently, you want to use that for the outside of the challah. Eggs are freezable. But I think it depends on what you're going to use them for. If you freeze them, like they're freezable and you can use them in baking afterwards. I don't think you want to freeze them and then try to make like scrambled eggs afterwards, but you can freeze extra egg yolks and use them in baking later. All right, so this is the soft peaks I was talking about. I'm going to see if Rachel, I'm going to need your help here. Come here. I need your help. I need you to pick up the computer and I want you to angle it. Let's angle it so they can see what's going on in here. All right. So here, let's see. Here is the mixer.
Yeah.
And let's lift this up. I don't know if you can see that too well, but it's dripping down and it still holds the shape a little bit in the bowl, but not, all the way. And let me see if I can do it. Yeah, like it drizzles off and you can still sort of see the lines it leaves behind in there. So then, now that these are at soft peaks, you will take everything that you have mixed up in this bowl.
Can I put it
in just a minute. There's a spoon that it was mixed up with. Okay, go ahead and pour it in. Come around. You pour it straight in. And what we're going to do is we are going to pour this, we're going to turn the mixer back on. And we're going to.
What about these?
No, that doesn't go in there. We're going to beat the egg white mixture until it reaches stiff peaks and is very glossy. You want to keep an eye on it because if you overbeat it, then it will start to curdle and it'll be ruined. I think there's some way to fix that, but I don't remember what it is. But so just keep an eye on it to make sure that it doesn't curdle. And I'll show you what you want it to look like.
Put it on stir.
No, you put it up higher than that.
4.
Yeah, 4 is good. You can actually turn it higher than that. So this part doesn't take too long because once you've added in that extra stuff, it works better at getting it to that point. So this doesn't take all that much longer. So back to squeezing the lemons. This is supposed to be Rachel's job, but she is dancing in front of the sliding glass door and watching herself. So, important tasks there. Grace, please put this in the garbage for me. Put this in the garbage for me. Rachel, please put this in the garbage also.
Elizabeth?
Yeah,
You have to stand up, right, to be stiff peaks. They can't fold over.
correct.
Okay.
So we are at the stiff peaks on this now. I'm going to show you. I just pulled the mixer out
These?
and it's standing up
Should I
like that.
throw out these?
Throw out the lemon rinds. So it just like stays like that. And that's what's considered the stiff peaks.
Mama?
Okay. I'll put myself back on mute because I'm using a hand mixer.
No.
Aw, it's the only way I can listen to the music without the headphones.
You keep your headphones on if you want to listen to music.
Aw.
Because this isn't the Everybody at Temple Sinai watches Rachel listen to music show. This is the cook along.
Tell them what I'm talking about.
They can hear you.
We're
We're not on mute.
No, tell them about the thingy.
Yes, Rachel's learned to hook up her MP3 player to the baby's swing.
Yeah, because
So-
that's the only way I can actually listen to it without the headphones.
So the baby likes to swing and listen to Eurovision.
Yeah,
Okay, throw this out, please. There you go, throw it
and
out.
that's the trash disposal.
Okay, so I'm going to move this over to the side. So this is actually, we're getting to the last steps with the pavlova before it goes in the oven. So you don't actually necessarily have to put chocolate chips in there. If you want them, you can. If you don't want to put chocolate chips, you don't. The recipe calls for 3/4 cup semi-sweet chocolate chips. I have mini chocolate chips. I like those better in there just because they're smaller. You can use regular chocolate chips. I don't believe in measuring chocolate chips. I believe in you put in as many chocolate chips as you feel like you want in there. So I'm going to put all of them. It's about half a bag worth in here. And all you do at this point is you just mix it really slowly just to get them mixed in there. So then,
Elizabeth?
yes,
Afterwards,
Oops, sorry. Would you consider, I'm using a hand mixer, so it's harder.
and you froze.
Hello?
No. So it looks like it may be right, but this is what you should do. Put the hand mixer in there
Uh-huh.
and turn it on and then turn it off with the beater still in there and then lift it up and see what it does.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So
Yeah, they stand up. Yeah.
okay.
Thank you. And then put the egg, you said you put the chocolate chips in it?
Yeah, put the chocolate chips in there and just sort of stir it up.
People can see that you got your baking skills from another person. Actually, I bake banana bread pretty good and cookies.
You bake.
Yeah, I just don't do egg whites usually. Anti-egg white policy.
They are finicky. All right. then you have mixed them together. All you do is you spread it out on, I have, what I have here is parchment paper on a baking sheet. And you plop it on there. All right, and then you're gonna sort of spread it out into a larger round shape. Now, I have used this to both make like a, large pavlova like this, or I use it to basically make like meringue cookies. So I make a lot of smaller little blobs. You do not change the baking time or temperature or anything if you do that. You do it the same way, either one, because it's baking at a very, very low heat and over a long period of time. And so you just don't need to change, the baking technique just because it's the smaller size. Like usually if you're doing muffins or cookies or whatever, and you make smaller ones, you have to do much shorter baking time. You don't have to do that with this. You do the same thing. So this is on the baking sheet. You're going to want to have a little bit of space around the edges because it is going to spread out a little bit. It's not going to rise, huge, but it will spread out a little bit. So you don't want it right on the edge. And you just sort of plop it on there and spread it around. So then the oven is at 300. What you're going to do is you take it down to 250. And put this pavlova in there. And you need to let it cook for an hour and a half. Alexa, set timer 90 minutes. What's on? Alexa.
You set my time.
Can I set your timer? Alexa, what timers are running? Okay.
Elizabeth,
Yeah.
I have a question for you. So at the Bake Off, you had like more of a beehive shape, didn't
Yes.
you? How do you get it? How do you do that?
So what I did is I made the same recipe, but then I divided it up into, I had measured it out on the parchment paper for what sizes I wanted. And then I took, that same, it's not really dough, but, and had spread it out into multiple ones and stacked them up.
Okay.
So you can stack a few of them up.
So it wasn't hollow inside. It had stuff inside of it.
Yeah. Well,
solid.
What will happen is that no matter what you do, you're going to get a crack in the pavlova. It just happens. Actually, I will show you the finished pavlova because I made one last night because we're not going to sit here for 3 hours. Well, let me tell you, you bake it for an hour and a half, then you turn off the oven and you leave it until the oven is cool. In my case, I usually leave it overnight and just leave it in there. And it doesn't burn or anything like that. As long as you turn off the oven at the hour and a half, you leave it in there and it's fine. So, Alexa, trigger kitchen island off. I'm gonna turn off these lights. There we go. Maybe you can see it a little better. So this is a finished pavlova. And of course it's got the giant cracks in it. And sometimes at the end, you get this like weird, like the liquid sort of had cooked out and you just pick that off. No, I would like it to stay off. So what I'm going to show you is the reason why it's important to use parchment paper is so that you do not totally ruin the pavlova when you are transitioning it onto a plate or what have you, and make yourself really, really sad. So in this instance, I'm going to use, I have a pedestal. I got one of these thingies. I don't even know what they're called. They're the cake things. But to transfer it, what is usually helpful is because, you know, you've got the paper underneath it. You don't want to mess around with it too much. You fold the paper under, you sort of peel it away from underneath as you shove it over. So the paper peels from underneath and the pavlova is on top of the little foil thing. And I have not done too much more damage than there already was. To the pavlova itself. It's got some cracks in it. You're always going to have that, but you're not going to do right now because it will make it soggy. But because we're not going to eat the whole thing right now, is usually I'll put like whether it's whipped cream or berries or whatever it is that I want to have on top. You put it on top, and it's delicious, and it also covers all the cracks. So that way it looks nice and fancy. But that's something that you want to do if you are going to be serving it at a meal or something like that to a bunch of people, and you're going to eat the whole thing at one time. You don't want to put berries on there and eat part of it and stick it in the fridge, and then the whole thing will get soggy and it'll be gross. I don't think you actually have to refrigerate. I don't refrigerate them afterwards. It'll only last for maybe 1 or 2 days. It's not something that will last for a long time, but you can keep it at room temperature and it'll be fine. So ta-da, here is the pavlova.
Beautiful.
I'm gonna move this out of the way now. This out of the way.
Elizabeth, how hard are they to cut?
They're not hard to cut. I mean, you cut right through it, but it crumbles as you're cutting it.
Okay.
So don't expect that you're going to get really neat lines.
Okay.
It's going to crumble all over the place. So you kind of you want to know that, when you're getting into it, it's going to make a bit of a mess. All right. So the pavlova is done. Whereas, it's in the oven and it's as done as it's going to get right now. And so I'll show you guys how to make the rest of the lemon curd. So we have a double boiler here. It's got water in there already. I want it on. Yes, I want it on. And I don't need to leave this in here right now. So I was reading that with making lemon curd, sometimes you'll get the pot reacting with the lemon and you'll get a weird flavor. I have never had a problem with that. They do recommend, you can use a glass bowl over water instead of using a double boiler. My double boiler is stainless steel and I haven't had any problem. So I guess if you're using something that's, kind of a pan that's not stainless steel, that could be a problem. And oh, Judy, you said that you are used to meringue being brown. It's not, this is white. I think meringue is usually brown because there might be cocoa powder added into it. Or it could be how much vanilla is added in there, because vanilla itself is brown too. But it's not a bright white. It's sort of like an off-white, but it's definitely not brown. So then we want the egg yolks. So I have 6 egg yolks here. And because, life is like the scene from Father of the Bride with him going in and ripping apart the hot dog bag, and you can never have to match up at the right numbers. So we have 4 egg yolks. 3, 4 egg yolks. And we're gonna have the granulated sugar. How much sugar did we want? 2/3 of a cup of sugar. 2/3 of a cup of sugar. And lemon zest. So here's all my lemon zest going in here. And lemon juice. So you use 1/3 of a cup of lemon juice. And then 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. I have never in my life owned a 1/8 of a teaspoon, so I just sort of eyeball half of a 1/4 teaspoon. So
It's a challenge, I hear.
what?
You're a challenge.
Yeah. So this is everything in here. So that's 4 egg yolks, 2/3 of a cup of sugar, 1 tablespoon of lemon zest, 1/3 of a cup of lemon juice, and 1/8 teaspoon of salt. And actually, before you even put it on the double boiler to boil, you want to whisk it all together. Blend it, and then we can put this on. So what you want is that the double boiler is going to boil, and then you reduce it to a simmer. So I'm actually waiting for it to boil, and then I will reduce it to a simmer. If you can hear that noise, that is Rachel punching Mylar balloons. I don't know why. So this is also very, very, very simple, because once you get this on there, you whisk so it doesn't curdle. You just keep whisking it and wait for it to thicken. And then all you have to do from that point is you add butter. So while we're waiting for the water to heat up, I am going to slice up the butter. And this is 6 tablespoons of butter at room temperature. So I don't think you necessarily really have to have it at room temperature. And it's not really going to change anything if it's just out of the fridge. Please stop. I just realized that I picked something to make that you make it like a gathering of people. And so this is like the saddest time to be making something for a gathering of people. Sorry.
It's all good.
I guess you can be sad about it and eat the whole thing yourself. That's what I'm gonna do. Here's the pavlova that I'm sharing with me. Rachel, what are you doing? Okay, we got a boil here. So I'm gonna put this on here. I'm going to turn the heat down. Then I will just stand here and whisk it. Anyone started watching the new episodes of the Great British Baking Show or the British Bake Off?
Yeah. Oh, that would be fun.
They're releasing new episodes of it each week. They made Bobka's, I think it was the last episode or the one before.
The last episode.
I heard there was
Yeah.
a bunch of controversy after that because they made a comment about how it was better than a New York one, and people from New York flipped out.
I mean, I tend to agree that with the people from New York on that one. I was impressed. They did an episode where they made rainbow bagels. And I was like, ooh, I can make that. And then I realized there's like 10 steps to it. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to do that.
Where do you watch the show? Is it
It's on Netflix.
Netflix? Cool.
on Disney Plus. When's the Mandalorian season coming out?
October 27th is the Mandalorian. Rachel is very eager for the
6 days.
new episodes of The Mandalorian.
6 days without the Mandalorian.
You're gonna have to, Rach.
I wonder what then the other name is. Like, the name.
This is pretty typical of how baking with Rachel turns out in my house. She will say that she wants to help me, and she's currently pushing herself across the hardwood floor on her back and whining that she wants the Mandalorian. So, and stop it. So you want to whisk the lemon curd until it's like the texture of hollandaise sauce, which takes a little while. Like right now, it's still pretty, watery. You got to get it to cook for a little bit more. And then once you get to that point, all you do is you add in the butter, and the butter sort of melts in, and then that's it. You let it cool enough for it to handle, and then you pour it into a jar, and you want to put saran wrap right on top of it so it doesn't get its skin. Hello, Rach.
I'm tired of rolling on the floor.
Tired of rolling on the floor.
How am I doing? You can't see me.
The water is just starting to boil.
Are you using a gas stove or an electric stove? I don't remember. You have gas, right? And say with the electric stove, you're going to want to remember, it holds heat for longer, so it's a little trickier to do, because on this, you want the water to boil in the double boiler, and then you turn it down to a lower heat so that it simmers, and it's just a little harder to do that on an electric stove because it stays hotter for longer. So you just got to pay a little bit closer attention.
I want to hold it and driving with me.
Do you have another comparison besides hollandaise? Because I'm not a hollandaise eater. So.
It's just that it needs gravy consistency.
Gravy!
It just needs to be thickened.
My gravy!
There was an SNL sketch that was it's one of my absolute favorites from the 90s called Crystal. What?
Silver gravy!
It's Crystal Gravy,
Yeah.
which was play on Crystal Pepsi, except it's Crystal Gravy. I was going to say you want it to be like Crystal Gravy, but it's sort of a obscure reference.
Water.
Look it up on YouTube. It's a very funny sketch.
I showed it to my kids a while back because I made a reference to Crystal Gravy and they thought I was crazy.
Did you show them the one for robot insurance? Because that's like my favorite.
No, I'll have to do that.
Robot insurance is a good one, and so is everybody's seen Mom Jeans. That's a good one too.
What about that Baby Yoda sketch? That was hilarious.
You're the only one who likes Baby Yoda.
Tell them about it. Tell them.
No, stop it.
My SNL sketch matters too. Tell them, please.
Rachel's favorite part of SNL is Weekend Update,
Yeah.
which is a little bizarre for a 10-year-old, but
With Kevin Jones and Michael Che.
I don't think she understands all of the jokes, but she likes them.
My favorite scene from that is the Baby Yoda scene. It's so funny. I'm gonna look it up.
Okay.
It's the funniest. And my favorite line is Baby Yoda said, I forget what he said. Can I use your charger?
Line? You forgot? Yeah, you can use the charger.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me steal this. Alrighty. Put this in.
Okay. This is starting to thicken. It's getting like kind of, it's getting like foamy at the top from the heat, like little bubbles on it. But, you know, it's not boiling or anything like that. Isn't this how you all planned on spending your Wednesday night, watching me whisk at the stove?
I'm enjoying it.
Mara, what are Saul and Kelly going to be making for their cooking class?
They are making a salad and a mushroom risotto.
They have it. I have it.
No, no, no. Go sit down.
Can I watch it?
You can watch it. Go over there and watch it.
Ooh, so funny.
They're also making a mug cake, like a
Ooh.
chocolate mug cake.
Good. Okay, this is starting to thicken. I mean, you can just really tell that the consistency has thickened a little bit. If you're, you know, standing and whisking it, it'll be pretty obvious. This is, you just don't want to like leave it to, you know, cook on the stove and walk away and do something else, because then you're gonna end up with a big mess. But this is definitely thickened, and I don't think there's, let me see if I can bring the camera over. See, I can do, so the lighting's not the greatest. See if that helps. That doesn't help at all. So it's kind of bubbly on top, but you can see, like, as you're whisking it, it sort of leaves some lines behind and it just moves a little bit more slowly. Yes, that knife holder is shaped like a person. So Mike got that for me as a present. The stabby knife holder. Do then after this, so it's thickened, and then at this point, all I have to do is add the butter in. I sliced it up, but it's all sort of stuck together still. And you just want to keep whisking that so it melts in. Rachel, can you please put headphones on?
Mandalorian.
Headphones on. Butter will melt in on its own.
Mandalorian.
And there we go. So, ta-da! Okay, you can't really see it very well, but I promise it is very yellow and lovely looking, and that's it. That's all you have to do.
How long will it keep, Elizabeth?
It will keep, you know, it says you can keep up to 10 days in the refrigerator. I would say that if you are going in and spooning it out of there, it will last longer than that. You can also freeze it for up 3 to 6 months. Let's see here. So the recipe I'm using is from the Sally's Baking Addiction blog. So the other things that they say in there, you can make it thicker by replacing 2 of the egg yolks with a whole egg. So instead of using 4 egg yolks, you use 2 egg yolks and 1 whole egg. That kind of misses the point of the problem being that you have too many egg yolks that you need to use up. So, and then they say in here, do not use bottled lemon juice. I don't listen to that. I will use bottled lemon juice if I don't have lemons around. And also it says you can use salted butter instead of unsalted butter, which is helpful because I never use unsalted butter. I always use salted butter anyway, because I like it better. And the recipe says that if you use salted butter, you shouldn't add the 1/8 of a teaspoon salt, but I also don't listen to that. I add it anyway. And it says do not strain the lemon curd because the zest is not going to be grainy, and that's correct. You don't need to strain it. You can use a very fine mesh sieve if you really, really, really care, but I don't think that you need to. And the Penzies, the lemon peel from Penzies is pretty fine. You can actually they have powdered lemon peel at Penzies also, if the texture really makes that much of a difference to you. I have not used it, so I don't know how it works, but I'm sure it works fine. So that is everything.
Elizabeth, how do you eat the lemon curd? Do you eat it with something else, as a part of something else? You just eat it with a spoon? Or
eat it with a spoon. I will also use it. I'll put it on ice cream. I'll put it on various baked things, like scones or English muffins or whatever. I did with the bake off, I did put the lemon curd like as a topping on the pavlova, so you can do that. The only thing with that is that because it's liquidy, it has to be something that you're going to be eating all at once right away. And you can, I'm trying to think of what else you can. I mean, you can put it on lots of different kinds of baked goods. Like if you make like a vanilla bundt cake, you could put it on that or whatever. What are you doing? Mike's standing there with the baby. You want to show off the baby? He's asleep. No, he doesn't want to show him off.
I see the baby.
So if you were serving it, let's say, to your family or just a couple other people, would you serve it separate, like you're saying, or would you put it together and split stuff? How do you serve it?
Well, what I would do is if I'm having people over for like a holiday meal and I'm going to serve the pavlova, I am going to assemble the whole thing then, because I figure we're going to probably eat the whole thing.
And assembling it means the pavlova and then the curd on top.
The curd, or if I wanted to use whipped cream and berries instead, use that. What else could you use? Usually use like some kind of berry. You could do the curd and the berries. You could, any of those things would work. If you make a pavlova and you're having one friend over and you're both going to eat a little bit of it, but not the whole thing, that's when I say don't put anything on top of it then, because it will get soggy if you don't eat the whole thing. Or maybe you have one friend over and you're both really dedicated to eating that entire pavlova, then go ahead and.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So do you wait for it to cool to put it in a jar, the lemon curd?
Cool a little bit. And Sharon says lemon curd mixed into homemade whipped cream and then eat with fruit or lemon wafer cookies. That is a really good idea. That sounds really good.
I put it on top of blueberries, and then it feels a little bit virtuous, like not really eating cookies.
Yeah. I put pretty much everything on ice cream, so this would be a good one for on top of ice cream.
Yes. Okay, so can we all give Elizabeth a round of applause? Look at her, 7:33.
ooh,
Awesome.
Yeah, this is
Thank you.
great.
Thank you so much. I
Thank
really
you.
wanted to learn how to make both of those. So I am good now. Make sure you sign up next week for Saul and Kelly's. It may just be Saul, I don't know. And if anybody wants to teach a future class, let me know. We're thinking of doing a mom and me or a kid and parent one. So
hopefully your children are more helpful than Rachel proved to be.
Rachel, It's really the idea that the kid is going to teach the class. So what's Rachel's favorite thing to make?
Buttered noodles.
Okay, we can make it really short then.
Yeah. Mara, did everyone get the recipes from this one?
They will get them sent tomorrow.
Okay, I want to email over a correction just on the pavlova recipe because it doesn't tell you when to mix in the salt. So can I email that? Email to you or should I email it to Tammy?
Email it to
Email
me.
it to Tammy.
Yeah.
Then otherwise I just forward it to Tammy.
Yeah.
And if everyone could please make sure you register online for next week so that you get the list of ingredients ahead of time. Okay, thank you all very much. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.